We are blessed to live in such an extraordinary country. And every morning that we wake up in the Biden regime, we realize that we are losing that country slowly. Can't believe how bad the migrant crisis is getting. I just returned from San Diego. Many of you maybe saw me on Sean Hannity's show. We did a segment on the border there I was actually along the southern border near Tijuana, and it was an area where we have an enormous wall. It's actually a doubled wall. There is a wall that is along Highway 1 in Mexico, and then there's a space in between, and then the wall, which is on our side of the border. And I'm going to explain to you why that is important, because in between is where the Border Patrol agents call no man's land. It's no man's land because for the people that end up in that area, they come through the wall and then end up in that no man's land in between. They start setting up tents. That's U.S. territory. They start building up their migrant camps, and it is there. And when that fills up, it is there when the Border Patrol agents, in an effort to document the people that are actually there, bring them into the United States across that fence line. So the explanation might be kind of strange, but it is a no man's land, which is in U.S. territory, not in Mexico. But it's not until it fills up now that they can bring them across. And why is that? And I'm going to explain it to you, because every single Border Patrol station now in San Diego is at maximum capacity. The county has declared a state of emergency. There are homeless Americans all over the streets of downtown San Diego. They have also pitched up tents. They're smoking crack. Some people are completely mentally disabled, mentally handicapped, crazy, so to speak. I was walking among them when I was downtown, and it was kind of frightening. And I'll go into that, what happens. And this is what regular Americans are dealing with every single day in upside down land. This is what we're living with. And so we've got all these Americans on the streets, veterans, drug addicts, people mentally ill, and we are paying millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to illegal migrants and NGOs to take care of the illegal migrants while our people are on the streets. And our president and the Biden administration have opened up the floodgates to people from all over the world. And I saw those NGOs operating at the border. I also want to share why I called someone a Marxist. And we're going to go into that. Lack of sleep may have had something to do with that. But first, imagine a future where your retirement is protected from the storms of market volatility. You all saw what was happening in the stock market today. It's insane. It's insane. I've been telling you this. You've got to diversify. You've got to get out and put your money into different areas. Don't put it all in one basket. And how do you do that? You do that with people that I trust. Allegiance Gold. Yes, I trust them. You look it up yourself. You decide for yourself, but it's about diversifying, and you don't want government meddling. You don't want recession and economic uncertainties. Imagine retiring with peace of mind and the freedom to pursue your own dreams. That future, my dear friends, can become your reality courtesy of Allegiance Gold. Right now, get $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase when you visit protectwithsara.com. That is protectwithsara.com today. For our listeners, for Sarah Carter listeners, you will get up to $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase when you visit protectwithsara.com today, or give them a call at 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARA, SARA. Don't wait. Take control of your retirement today. Call 877-702-7272. like that sound, and speak with one of their experts. They'll answer all your questions and help you get started on the path to a more secure and prosperous retirement. Time is of the essence. Protect your future with Allegiance Gold. Visit protectwithsara.com or call 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARA, SARA. So I spent a lot of time when I was young in San Diego. And even when my first two children were born, I spent a lot of time there. I lived in California. I worked at the Daily Bulletin, which was part of the Los Angeles News Group. And even before I worked at the Los Angeles News Group, I mean, Tijuana was where we went. In the late 80s, early 90s. And so on, a lot of the young people, a lot of us, we'd go to San Diego. It was about a 2-hour drive. And okay, granted, we went to Mexico because we knew we could drink there and get away with it. No, if there are any children listening to this, do not do that, especially now. Do not cross the border to drink. Please do not do that. So we would go there, and I would go there sometimes with my mom to go shopping. We would buy, things cheaper there sometimes, or just have fun and go to Rosarito Beach to have dinner. You could always get like a cheap man's lobster dinner there at Rosarito for very, very cheap and enjoy the ocean. And life was different then. Sure, there were dangerous elements in San Diego and in Tijuana in Mexico, but it was better then. It wasn't what evolved later. Later, San Diego, which is a beautiful city, mind you, it's still gorgeous. It's probably one of the most beautiful cities in our entire country. The weather is extraordinary. The people are wonderful, but it has changed. It's changed. I remember going to downtown San Diego when I was young, and I didn't have homeless people smoking crack right next to me, which is what I experienced there, even with cops across the street, and they couldn't do anything. This woman lit up a crack pipe. There was a man half naked, on the floor. There were tents pitched up everywhere I looked. And I was a little nervous. I was a lot nervous. You don't want to set someone off, especially someone that's mentally ill or someone who's using drugs. And I was thinking to myself, this is not the San Diego that I remember, the downtown San Diego. Now, Hotel Coronado, that's still the same. It's still beautiful. The shopping areas near there, beautiful. Imperial Beach. There were a lot of homeless, but it's still beautiful. But you can see the deterioration of the city. You can feel it. You can see the upside downness of these progressive Democrat radical left policies that have failed. Thank God there's still a lot of Republicans in that area. But this is Gavin Newsom's mess. California is a mess because of the policies that have been implemented by those people on the left. There are a lot of great Californians that are sticking with their state, even though so many have fled. But but we would go down to Mexico. And that was something very normal I think people that live on border states understand that. If you're listening to me, it was very common. You go over to the border state, people come over to the United States, you go over there, you shop, you hang out with your family, you go to the beach, you eat dinner. You're not a bad person, so you're probably not worried about, at that point in time, about getting harmed by cartel members. And then everything started shifting. I mean, the cartels became more radical, more dangerous, more evil, right? You had the Arellano Felix cartel, and it was so powerful in Tijuana. It started to, get to the point where people didn't even want to go anymore because police officers were being beheaded. There was one point where I remember these officers were beheaded, Mexican police officers, and heads were put on posts along Highway 1. It was terrorist tactics. But I remember the point where even before all of that started happening, people made movies there. The studios had a studio in Rosarito Beach area, and They would use it for films, and they even put up, I remember it just started changing, and then it changed for the worse. Then everything reverted back. And now we have a migrant crisis especially since President Biden has taken office, because he is an open borders advocate who wants open borders despite anything he says. Every single migrant that I've spoken to says to me, they are here because they know Biden will not send them home. That is a fact. They are here because President Biden has opened the border for them. I met people while I was there, from Venezuela, from West Africa, from Haiti, from Russia, Ukraine. There was a family from Poland. There were a lot of Chinese. This is in San Diego. The majority of these people are not properly vetted. I would say roughly 95% of them are not properly vetted. I was talking to Border Patrol agents that were working on the line, and retired Border Patrol agents who were telling me that it is absolutely lawless and out of control, and that they can't even patrol the way they want to patrol because they're too busy processing people they know are going to be released into the United States. So not only do you have an area now, Americans, by the way, are not going into Tijuana. They're not going in there now, not the way like they used to. Some people do venture in there that know the area well, but a lot of Americans, even ones I spoke to when I was there, a lot of people that are locals in San Diego say, I don't want to go there, I'm too scared. But now you've got migrant encampments. And you've got cartels taking tons of money. And by the way, you have a lot of NGOs up against the fence line. In the no man's land area, several of them, you have Catholic Charities. There's also a Jewish Family Coalition. There's other NGOs that are there. I'm collecting the data on them right now. But they're passing water to the families that are in the no man's land, and food, and there's volunteers there. They have good hearts, some of them, and some of them don't. Because I was talking to Border Patrol, and a lot of the people that were working there, they have young people. And by the way, one young person that fit that description that a Border Patrol agent told me about showed up while I was there doing Sean's show. And they had a hammer and sickle on their shirt. They were dressed like Antifa. And the Border Patrol agents that were working there are like, look, a lot of the people volunteering for this NGO, they are like walking around with hammer and sickles, like they're old Soviet style, Marxists. And some of the kids that have showed up look like they're Antifa. We can't guarantee it, but they look like it and dress like it. And I saw that with my own eyes. That was weird. But there were a lot of good people there too, volunteering, passing food back and forth. And at one point, it was very interesting. But there was a group of young boys that showed up, teenagers, in a car. And we thought maybe the Border Patrol agents these former BP agents were the bomb. I want to just throw big props out to them if they're listening to this podcast, because they were so great. They were my security detail, and they were just amazing. But we were watching as these three young teenage guys got out of the car, and they were walking over and they were talking to the NGOs, and then they were walking over and talking to some of the people on the fence line. And one of the agents said something, or former agents, retired agents, said something to me that was very important. He said, you know what? We don't even know if they're passing stuff to people across the fence line. I mean, for all we know, the cartels are using some of the migrants right there to pass drugs, to pass information over the fence line, because now there's just no control at that fence line. And Border Patrol can't do much about it. What they've done is they've allowed, because they can't stop them, these people show up, they build up all of these tents, right? They build up all of these tents like a tent city, makeshift tent city. There's no bathrooms there, by the way, no showers. You have a big mound of trash. You see little children playing in the rocks, sleeping underneath these makeshift tarps, dirty. They're waiting for food. I talked to some of the people through the fence line, some of the people from Venezuela. I said hello to a few of the people that were there that were speaking only French. They were from West Africa or Haiti. I saw a Chinese family also there, and they're sticking their hands, and it's just like insanity. And then at one point, the Border Patrol truck came down through in the no man's land, let some people out. And later on, there was another Border Patrol van that showed up, and they were taking some of the single women with them and moving them to a different location. But the children and the other women that had children and the families, they were still at the tent city when I left late that night. And I'm looking at these children, and I'm talking to some of the folks that I'm with, and they're saying to me, you know, we had to separate some of these people come March. They had I think it was 4,000 or something. It was like an insane number. And they had to bring them all in and process them. And they had to separate the men from the children and the women because there were reports coming from the people in the camp that several of the women had been raped, that some of the children had been violated. And by the way, these are the people that we are not vetting that are coming into our country that are going to live in a house near you or an apartment. And they're going to be paid for by the government. I'll be right back in a minute. But first, folks, we have a heartfelt reason to support our blood pressure. My mother had heart disease. She died of heart disease. It was the worst day, one of the worst days in my life. In fact, more than half of the US population would benefit from blood pressure support. I really do believe in this. I believe in taking care of your heart so you could be around for your children, your grandchildren, for yourself, for your family. Paired with a healthy lifestyle, the antioxidants in Super Beets are clinically shown to be nearly 2 times more effective at promoting normal blood pressure than a healthy lifestyle alone. So I want you to think about that. Super Beets, it's so important. With my busy schedule, Super Beet chews, I love them. They're little squares and they're red and they taste delicious. Are a quick way and convenient way to do something good for my heart. So they taste great and they give me peace of mind about my health and overall wellness. Supporting healthy blood pressure comes with a bonus. Super Beets heart chews support healthy circulation. So you not only get good blood pressure support, but you also get a productive, heart-healthy energy without the crash. Double your potential with Super Beets Heart Chews. Get a free 30-day supply of Super Beets Heart Chews at 15% off your first order by going to superbeets.com and using the promo code Sara. Use the promo code Sara, S-A-R-A. That's getsuperbeets, BEETS.com, code Sara. Just to give you an idea of how frustrated people are. I spoke to San Diego County, one of the supervisors there, Jim Desmond. He was just absolutely incredible. He was the one that fought for and won in the end, declaring a state of emergency with his, with the county supervisors in San Diego. And I want you to take a listen to what he has to say. He was on Sean Hannity with me. This played last night, but I wanted to play it for you so you would get an idea of what was going on.
This is, actually our county, we declared it, 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats just declared it a humanitarian crisis here in San Diego County. The message is do your job, federal government. Don't just half do your job and then drop people when you're done with them and give them no guidance or no help or any help to get to their sponsors or wherever it is they're going. Don't just drop them here in San Diego County. Do your job. Give us a border that works. Just allowing people to come in beyond our capacity to manage or process them is ridiculous and is inhumane to both the people being dropped off and to the people who live in the neighborhoods where they're being dropped off here in San Diego County.
All you have to do is think about what is happening here. We have Democrats and Republicans now saying, what is going on here? This has to stop. We have Bill Clinton saying the exact same thing. Former President Bill Clinton going, wait a minute, what is going on here? This is a crisis. The reason why a lot of Democrats are saying this is because they lied to you for so long because they thought they could hide this, right? This is the trick. They're going to let everybody flood in, but they thought that the border states would be so weak right? And that our governors were so weak that they wouldn't speak up, or that the American people here along the border were so radical, maybe they thought, that they wouldn't speak up either, that they would just continue to allow it to happen. And then when somebody did speak up, like a rancher here in Texas or someone in California, that it would just be like, oh, there's that anti-immigrant rancher again, or that anti-immigrant politician again, just, that doesn't care about, bring me your weak, you're hungry, you're poor. It doesn't care about what we stand for, without having any regulations whatsoever, right? We're supposed to be the nation that just lets the floodgates open. That's why I always say to a Democrat, you know what? That's amazing that you believe that way, that you have that much faith in humanity. You should open your house and just let anybody live in there with you and your family. Because there are so many people on the streets. I can bring them to your house. I can put them in my car. I can deliver them to your home. Just open the doors. Let them live with you, right? No way. Those people, these progressive, rich radicals that are always on television, that are always telling us how to live our life, and they work in Hollywood and they make oodles and oodles of money and want nothing to do with the regular common man and would never be caught dead in a Walmart. Those people have big, giant fences around their home. Yeah, even Barack Obama, huge fences away from the masses to keep out the riffraff. They charge tons of money to eat at their restaurants. No, not because the food is so extraordinary. It's not the reason why. It's to keep out people that don't have a lot of money. But they want you to leave your neighborhood wide open, your apartment building wide open, your hotels wide open for people that they haven't even vetted. Human beings. Just because somebody came across the border doesn't mean they came from a war zone, folks. What war zone is happening right now, right next to us, other than the cartels. But we have that here. We have that on the streets of Baltimore. We have that on the streets of San Francisco. We've got it on the streets of New York, Kensington, Chicago. Again, I tell you, where do our children go? Can our children apply for amnesty and asylum in, like in a rich neighborhood or in France? Like, hi, we're getting shot at every day. Can we please go live in your neighborhood? Maybe that's what we should start doing. Just having like neighborhood amnesties. Like, you guys let all these people in. Now we've got gang warfare, like I saw in Chicago. I mean, it didn't even matter. In Chicago, I'm doing an interview with people from Venezuela while a gang member from Chicago, or some guy, I don't even know. I mean, maybe he's not a gang member, but I don't know. He walked up and was demanding his drugs from a Venezuelan guy living in a tent in front of the police station. So you tell me, is that insanity or what? And by the way, no police showed up. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. Just like the girl that was smoking crack in San Diego, in front of me, in my face, on a sidewalk, in broad daylight, with a guy next to her who was probably the guy that sold her the crack, and another guy straight ahead who had his pants down around his ankles and was doing crazy stuff. And we're supposed to be okay with that. Like, our children don't matter to our government? Like, what is going on here? This is the reason why Americans are so angry. This is the reason why so many Americans are supporting Matt Gaetz, right? To get rid of Kevin McCarthy and others. They're just frustrated because they're like, how do you do this? How can we have continuing resolutions and kick the ball down the road and do all this stuff and not take care of the problems that are affecting us every single day in this nation? It is happening right in our face. We can see it. Don't believe your lying eyes. That is what the Biden administration expects us to continue to do. But people are waking up. I've said this. Democrats are waking up. I hope more will wake up. Independents are seeing right through it. Others are seeing right through it. They are trying to build what I believe this. These radicals like President Biden, he's a radical. He is a radical thief. He and his family. That's what they are. They're radical thieves. They're radical Marxist thieves. You know? And they took money from our adversaries. Yes, we all know that. And now they're leaving this border wide open for the puppet masters behind them who think that if they allow all of these people to flood in to our country, they're going to start changing. I have to believe this, the voter base. They are going to find new people to manipulate and lie to because, by God, the people that are in America now that have been here for generations don't buy their crap anymore. We are blessed to live in such an extraordinary country. And every morning that we wake up in the Biden regime, we realize that we are losing that country slowly. Those feelings that you have are real. It's like a gut instinct, right? It's like that intuition you get, like they call it a woman's intuition, right? Or a man's intuition. I believe it's a human intuition to know when something just doesn't feel right, when something feels wrong, when it feels off. You need to listen to that, and you need to pray, and you need to take action because God has given you that ability to do so. Don't leave it up to somebody else to fight the fight for you. You fight the fight for you and your family. It's just that important. Follow me on Truth at Sara Carter Official, on X at Sara Carter DC, and on Instagram at SCarterDC. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless our great nation. God bless all of the Border Patrol agents on the front lines and all of our law enforcement officials who fight every single day for our nation. And God bless the great state of Texas. I'll see you soon.